Subscribe to Chug Chow wherever you get your podcasts or visit chugandchow.com.
You road warriors, you flavor hunters, welcome to Chug Chow. This is the podcast that fills your tank with stories and tastes and stops that make America unforgettable. I'm Todd Newton, your host and author of the book, Chug Chow, the Tattooed Traveler's 50 Favorite Dive Bars and Food Joints Across America. The book is available on Amazon and at chugandchow.com. That is the book that started it all. Without it, we would not have this show. The show tailor-made for anyone that knows that sometimes the best meals come wrapped in wax paper, served on chipped plates, or slid across a counter by someone who knows your name, or soon will. Each week we steer clear of the chains and the shiny franchises to shine a big old spotlight on the locally owned eateries, the roadside diners, the neighborhood watering holes, the places where flavor and history meet. They aren't just restaurants, they're institutions, you know. Some of them are hanging on by a thread, others are thriving thanks to a fiercely loyal fan base, but all of them represent something real, something personal, something worth pulling over for. I want to take you to a place that doesn't always make the top of travel lists, but absolutely should. I'm talking about Fort Wayne, Indiana. Nestled in the northeastern corner of the Hoosier State, Fort Wayne is a city with a rich industrial past and a warm Midwestern heart. Named after Revolutionary War hero General Mad Anthony Wayne, this city has been a key player in American history, from its early days as a trading post to becoming a major manufacturing hub in the 20th century. These days, Fort Wayne is a mix of revitalized neighborhoods, a thriving art scene, and a food culture that is quietly but confidently making some noise. Right in the heart of it all, in the shadow of skyscrapers and history, sits a little white building with a red awning and a name that's been making mouths water since 1940, Powers Hamburgers. Now, maybe you've seen the video we filmed at Powers Hamburgers. It's on the YouTube channel, at The Tattooed Traveler. And if you're from Fort Wayne, chances are you've either eaten at Powers or you've stood in line at some point wondering what all the fuss is about. And if you've never been, well, buckle up, because this is the kind of place that defines what Chug Chow is all about. It was founded by Clell Poppy Powers. The original concept, simple: serve up hot, fresh, affordable hamburgers fast. No frills, no gimmicks, just honest food done right. And that formula has worked. 80 plus years later, Powers Hamburgers is still sizzling, still sliding those little square sliders off the flat top grill and into the hands of hungry locals, travelers, night owls, and early risers. The inside of Powers is about as old school as it gets. A classic U-shaped diner, no tables, no drive-through. The scent of grilled onions hits you before you even walk through the door. And trust me, it's not a bad thing, not a complaint. It's part of the experience. This is a place where time seems to slow down, and the only thing that matters is the next hot burger off the griddle. But what makes Powers special isn't just the food, it's the feeling, the connection to a simpler time. It's the regulars who have been coming here for decades, and the first-timers who instantly feel like regulars. It's a throwback in the best possible way, a place where community still matters, and a handshake still means something. On this episode, we're pulling up a stool at one of Fort Wayne's most beloved institutions to find out what keeps Powers Hamburgers going strong, one patty at a time. Owner Alex Richardson joins me now. We're going to dig into the history of the restaurant, and of course, we'll talk about what makes those little sliders so addictive. Alex, welcome to Chug and Chow. Places like yours, man, in this day and age are few and far between. And when we're fortunate enough to stumble upon a Powers Hamburgers, it really is something special. Can you give us a little history of the place?
Yeah, you're right. So in the 20s and 30s, there was a million of these. They just popped up everywhere. If there was a town of 1,000 people, you had one of these. And so, and they just sort of died over the years, kind of gotten eaten out by the big guys, McDonald's and Burger King and whatnot. But yeah, the authentic diner is sort of gone by the wayside.
Yeah, well, sad but true. Your location there looks like it may have been one of, if not the first Powers. Would that be right?
The first Powers Hamburgers location opened in 1935 in Dearborn, Michigan. And so there were four brothers, Powers brothers, that opened the location. And they built it mostly by hand. And so, 1935 was not the biggest booming economy that ever existed. And so, the hamburger is, we get the complaint sometimes now today, hey, it's mostly onions. Yes, it was a Depression era food. This is, onions were cheap and beef was expensive. And so that's what it is known for. And so, they opened that location up there in Dearborn, Michigan. And then as the brothers sort of moved away and started their families, one settled in the Pleasant Lake, Indiana area. And they decided to build a location in Fort Wayne. And so that's where we got our beginning here in 1940. They opened the location that is still on hand here today. That's on the corner of Harrison and Breckenridge here in Fort Wayne. And it's existed here ever since. And so, very quickly they opened a second location here in town in 1942. And then they added a third location in the 80s. So, it's sort of dwindled over the years, as you said before. Some diners lasted, some didn't. But they closed the Coliseum location pretty quickly, about 5 years after it opened. Just never really was a hit. The original owner or the son of the owner at that time, who was operating at Roland, had a cancer diagnosis. And so, consolidating operations was important.
Something you said there is really interesting, Alex. You mentioned making these small burgers because the price of beef was so high, astronomical in terms of that era, in financial terms, right around the Great Depression. I'd always associated the slider, the small burgers, the little squares, about 2 inches squared, with White Castle. I know White Castle opened in 1921. I thought they were the originator of the slider, and that they got their name. The story I heard was that an employee was always sliding the little burgers down the counter to customers, and the name slider just stuck. But it would make perfect sense historically if they originated out of restaurants' need to save money on beef, but they still wanted to pack them with flavor, so they loaded them with onions. That's probably where the slider truly originated, I would think.
Yeah, you can go back and you'll see all these diners, right? The biggest thing they had outside, they didn't even have the name of the business outside. All they had was a sign that said 5 cents. And so, again, when the economy gets tough, people become very price conscious, right? And so, 5 cents must have been the sweet spot. And so, again, any smart business person knows if you can keep cost of goods down, then that's the way to do it. So, again, that slider hamburger sort of became the way. So
I want to talk about the size, the hominess of the place in just a moment. When you walk in, there were only a handful of stools at the counter, but to the right there in the corner where they grill these little sliders, is that not the original grill from when the place opened?
Well, so, and again, this is more modern history now, but, we had a fire last year. So since the last time you were in, that was the grill that had been operating from the very beginning. Unfortunately, after the fire, so we had a fire just about a year ago, June 25th of 2024. And so we had already kind of renovated the place a little bit, redid the walls and the lighting and the ceiling and some of those kinds of things. And then unfortunately we had a fire, and the smoke damage alone, fire department came in and they said, you got to put a whole hood in, you got to update some of these things. But, the grill was original, and, the plate for the grill had been replaced over the years. So a lot of people were concerned, oh my gosh, you're going to lose all that flavor. we get most of our folks are telling us now we've got the flavor dialed in. It tastes just like they remember from 30 years ago. So
well, I guess the more things change, the more things stay the same. You walk in Powers Hamburgers there. Again, space is always limited. A lot of takeout orders, I would imagine. What do you have as far as the number of stools? What do you got, about a dozen in there?
Yeah, so we have seating for 16 inside, with one four-top booth. Everything else is basically countertop seating. And then we added some more outdoor seating. So we do have seating outside for up to 24. So don't be scared to bring your whole family.
Yeah, we were fortunate. We were able to grab a couple of stools right next to each other at the counter there, and enjoyed it very much. I like your logo. I'm looking at your website right now, powershamburgers.com. We serve them or sack them. In addition to the sliders, you can get their grilled coney dogs, their hearty chili. The chili was delicious. We got a little cup of that to go. But as far as your sliders go, they're hearty as well. I'm good for about 4 or 5 of those things, and then I'm topped off.
Absolutely. Well, we'll find out how many anyone can eat tomorrow when we do our slider eating contest. And so last year the winner hit 20. We'll see what they can accomplish this year. So we got some contestants talking big numbers, but I don't know. A lot of them talked big last year too. So
see, I leave the competitive eating to the professionals, man. I want to savor my sliders. They're at Powers Hamburgers in Fort Wayne, Indiana. powershamburgers.com. They truly are delicious. It's a fabulous diner experience, if you will. powershamburgers.com. Alex Richardson, thank you for your time, my friend. I look forward to my next visit.
Yeah, thank you. You as well. You have a great day.
You too, pal. We should also thank the gang behind the counter who keep that grill hot and the tradition alive. I mean, places like Powers remind us why we do this podcast, to celebrate the local legends that feed our stomachs and feed our souls. Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, please do us a favor and subscribe to the CHUG CHOW podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And if you know a fellow traveling foodie, a road trip junkie, or a small town diner lover, share this episode with them. Help us share the gospel of grease-stained menus and hometown flavor. And don't forget, you can dive even deeper into these stories by ordering a copy of the CHUG CHOW book. CHUG CHOW, the Tattooed Traveler's 50 favorite dive bars and food joints across America. It's available now at chugandchow.com. Every copy sold helps provide 10 meals to a family experiencing food insecurity through our partnership with local food banks. So grab a burger, hit the road, and keep supporting the places that make America taste like America. I'm Todd Newton, and until we meet again a little further on down that road, travel safely.
CHUG CHOW is produced by the host with the most LLC. All rights reserved.